are these people?
So we're going to cover some of the stuff that Israel's been up to and some of their war crimes this week, because we do that every week. We're going to continue to. Gaza officials warn that thousands remain trapped under the rubble and say that aid flow is critically insufficient. And we covered this 2 weeks ago, and it continues that Israel is still continuing to not allow enough aid in, though they will scream that they are allowing all the trucks that are there. We know that's not true. We've seen the trucks lined up. Right? Only 4,400 aid trucks have been allowed into Gaza out of the 15,600 that were supposed to have entered. Now, the thing is that neither side signed this ceasefire agreement, so I don't know whose ceasefire agreement they're supposed to be following, because neither side technically agreed to it. But that is just one collapsed building. Good luck finding people under there without heavy equipment. The bodies of over 10,000 Palestinians remain trapped under the rubble of buildings destroyed by Israel. Okay. In a statement on November 6th, that is the Gaza's National Committee for Missing Persons. It's disgusting that they even have to have one of those, but they do. Quote, the humanitarian situation in Gaza requires urgent intervention to end the suffering of thousands of families waiting to know the fate of their children. Calling for the urgent entry of specialized international rescue teams and heavy equipment to help recover the bodies of trapped and missing Palestinians. The problem is that in order to get there, they have to go through Israeli territory, and Israel, of course, is not going to allow that, because fuck Israel. Israel's continued prevention of crucial equipment from entering Gaza is a clear violation of international humanitarian law, it added, demanding urgent action from the international community to save as many lives as possible and preserve human dignity. Again, not Israel's intent at all. Meanwhile, they continue to block the entry of humanitarian aid into Gaza in complete violation of the ceasefire agreement, which went into effect last month. A reminder, Israel did not agree to this ceasefire agreement. It was imposed upon them and Hamas. The Gaza Petroleum and Gas Authority says, we confirm that the Zionist side has been preventing entry of cooking gas trucks for the third consecutive day. From November 3rd to November 5th, not a single gas truck has entered the strip. In previous days, only 2 or 3 trucks were allowed in daily, a situation that warns of a worsening crisis and the emergence of major social and health problems. We also note that the Zionist side has been sending back gas trucks every day without filling them, even after they arrive at the crossing, clear evidence of its deliberate attempt to worsen the suffering of Gaza's residents, despite the ceasefire that was imposed upon them. Furthermore, the Zionist side has adopted a new procedure, instructing trucks to head to the crossing only to turn them back empty as part of its ongoing effort to humiliate and subdue the steadfast Palestinian people in Gaza. So they send an empty truck in there and then turn them back. We all call on concerned parties and monitors of the ceasefire agreement to compel the Israeli side to implement the humanitarian protocol stipulating the entry of fuel and gas, and to intervene urgently to curb this deliberate and worsening gas crisis. Starvation crisis, it ain't just gas. Now, what we said, and we've been calling this for a month, and Israel is basically saying that they're using this as an excuse why they're not ceasing fire. Well, they haven't actually returned all the hostages, the dead ones. They can't return dead bodies that are buried under rubble and equipment without the heavy equipment to actually dig the bodies out. And of course, Israel knows this. So here's a couple of receipts. We go back to 4 weeks ago. Palestinians cease and Israel fires. Fuck Israel. Fuck Israel.
Yep.
From the mouth of Rifat. So that was the Council of State. And then we've got, what's next? Mondo Weiss. Here's another one. The Israeli media is already reporting on a secret clause in the Gaza ceasefire deal that no one is talking about. And what do? They do it in Hebrew. This is like they're communicating amongst themselves, and then they homogenize it for the English, for the Westerners. It's disgraceful.
Right.
So Hebrew language Israeli media reports that there is a secret clause buried in the Gaza ceasefire agreement that would allow Israel to resume the war. You mean the massacre. Again, it's not a war when the other side isn't fighting back. Palestinians worry that this is pretext Netanyahu needs to get out of completing the deal. It's exactly what happened. And it's the same. That was on October 10th. That was written by Mondo Weiss. A week later, we covered a very similar thing where they accused Hamas of violating the deal by not returning slain hostages fast enough. Also, what we predicted and what Mondo Weiss predicted last week, which was how Israel was going to claim that Hamas was the violator of the ceasefire, which was that the 24 slain hostages still left behind, they haven't been able to deliver them quickly enough because they're buried under rubble. Okay, the scenario Israel had long prepared for has come to pass. Hamas violated the agreement from the very start, announcing the return of only 4 deceased hostages out of the 28 it holds in the Gaza Strip. So this is the justification and the excuse that they're using for continuing to attack and murder Palestinians. Only 28%, though, of the required number of aid trucks have entered the Gaza Strip since the U.S. peace plan was announced, right? According to Gaza's government media office. The office, and again, this is from the Cradle. By the way, I'm not a big fan of the Cradle. I don't even know why, but I know that a lot of people have criticized them. Once in a while, they'll put out an article like this. I really haven't seen this anywhere else, which is why I went to the Cradle. Again, the Gaza office said in a statement on Thursday that Israel is carrying out its policy of strangulation. According to the statement, again, only 53 trucks have been allowed into Gaza, which is less than a third of the 15,600 that were supposed to enter as part of the agreement. The media office went on to say that these limited quantities do not meet the minimum needs, and the Strip urgently needs a regular flow of no less than 600 trucks a day, as stipulated in the deal. That also includes tents, medical supplies, and food. On the other hand, the occupation allows the entry of larger quantities of nutritionally worthless goods, such as soft drinks, chocolate, processed meals, and chips, which reach the markets at prices more than 15 times their real value due to the occupation's control over supply chains. This confirms the occupation's reliance on policy of engineering starvation, controlling food security, and directly targeting civilian lives. Of course, they're also providing food that doesn't really have nutrients. Like it said, nutritionally worthless, that you give to starving people that you have not allowed aid in for 2 years. What do you think they're going to do? The lack of specialized equipment entering Gaza has made it nearly impossible for authorities to continue the search for the thousands of victims of Israel's genocide who remain trapped under destroyed infrastructure. Israel has not stopped violating the ceasefire agreement. Using alleged Hamas violations as a pretext, Israel has killed up to now over 150 Palestinians since the ceasefire was imposed last month. An Israeli soldier was killed in Rafah on October 28th. Israel responded by killing over 100 people in less than 12 hours. Earlier that month, a soldier was killed in Rafah, prompting violent strikes that killed dozens of civilians and assassinated several top Hamas leaders. Hamas's military wing, the Qassam Brigades, released a statement confirming that it had lost contact with its fighters in Rafah, which was destroyed and occupied by Israeli troops during the massacre, not a war, massacre. And allegedly, they had started to fill in tunnels with cement that they had allegedly known Hamas fighters to be housed in. Around 200 Palestinian resistance fighters remain trapped in underground tunnels in the southernmost city. Attacks against Israeli soldiers in the area may have been carried out by these isolated fighters who are unable to retreat to Hamas-controlled zones. They've got them boxed in. Israel is, quote, close to killing, unquote, the 200 trapped fighters. The devil, Bezalel Smotrich, said earlier this week, after Tel Aviv was said to have rejected granting safe passage to the resistance operatives. So wait, you're not going to let them go safely. Of course, they're not allowed to shoot their way out. So their only option is to die in the tunnel now? According to reports, the U.S. is trying to convince Israel to allow the fighters to hand over their weapons to a third party and surrender in exchange for amnesty, so that Israel can kill them afterwards, I guess? Some of the Hamas militants in the Rafah tunnels are murderers. They cannot be granted amnesty. They can either be killed or surrender and be detained by the IDF, an Israeli official, a murdering war criminal, told Axios. A U.S. official, also a war criminal, told the outlet that Israel needs to grow up and not allow a tactical issue such as this to undermine the Gaza agreement. Again, that Israel never agreed to. Don't forget, they're allowed to violate all of this because they can claim they never signed off on it in the first place. So, fuck Israel. If you're able to support the media you want to see and support shows like this, the best ways to do that are by Cash App, $ Indie News Network on Cash App, ko-fi.com/Indie News Network, paypal.me/Indie News Network. Then we've got IndieNewsNow.com, again, the name of the show, but also the website where we are live and also where you can support the media you want to see. So that if all these platforms like YouTube ever decide to shut us down, guess what? We're still going to be able to go live directly to IndieNewsNow.com. So even if all the other 8 platforms decide to kick us off, which likelihood they wouldn't, but I want to make sure that they can't shut us down no matter what. Then, of course, over at Substack, we're live at Indie Media Today. Greetings to everyone over there. And at INNnewsletter.com, sign up to get the weekly update and other INN podcasts like INN One-on-One and American Tradition with Jesse Jett and INN News, which are all housed over at INNnewsletter.com. We're gonna do this every Tuesday night now at 10 p.m. Eastern. We're just shifting. So for those who weren't here earlier, like Vicky, and it's in the description, but how do we miss that? He's evolving. You know, I took a look around at the landscape and I said, you know, as a show name, it's been around for 4 years. We never really named the show. It kind of evolved into its own name, but I never actively decided that this is what I want to call it. But because we're using articles from Indie News Now, I think it makes a lot of sense to brand Indie News Now and link the website into the show name. So it's called Indie News Now Live. And I've been wanting to do a show kind of by myself, a news show. So that's what we're going to do. And we're going to see how this goes. Again, Thursday nights, you're going to see a mix of shows. You're going to see a combination of either INN One-on-One. You're going to see Indie's Tech Tips, which I'm going to do shows of, and we're going to talk about the tools. We're going to do some more Nobody Wants to Work Anymore, and there might even be one on Thursday with me and Himbo. And, of course, American Tradition, which will be the last Thursday of every month. We've kind of tried to set on that as a schedule. So thank you, everybody, again, for supporting this move. Tell everyone about Indie News Now and about Indie News Now Live. I really think that it might help give us a little bit of a boost because we certainly could use one. The algorithm doesn't love us. Boats, by the way, will be moving to 11 p.m. on Sunday nights. So we are still going to do boats. It's going to happen on Sunday night. And the last Sunday of every month will still be in uncensored boats. But the truth is that I can't continue to stay up as late as I've been staying on Sunday nights, especially. And I've got to start working on my schedule. So spreading this out a little bit better seems to make more sense, at least for me. And we're going to try this and see how it goes. And thank you, everybody, for being on board and supporting that. So I will again say to support independent media because we need it more than ever. And we will see you next Tuesday night at 10 p.m. Eastern. Tomorrow night, 9 p.m. Check out INN News with Reef and Colin. And we'll see you again real soon. Love you all, fam. No! We just fucking lost the stream!
I guess this isn't such an awful place. Is that what you want me to say? You prove it's possible to sleep for days, and I still think you're right here awake. The cost of living isn't much to make, but God, it's so hard to say. And when they told you everything was safe, were you safe? Were you safe?